So with Season 4 being announced, I've been thinking about the game a lot more than usual recently. These kinds of videos are always tough for me to make because at the end of the day, devs that work on any game are people, just like you and me. I'm literally nobody when it comes to the grand scheme of this content creator thing, but even a couple of people being toxic is one of the most annoying things. So please, regardless of what I say in this video or how I or anybody else feels about the devs, please don't be that person. But speaking of the devs, I vividly remember telling people day after day, even a year after the game had been out, give the devs some time. They're trying to make it work. They've got a ton of things on their plate, etc. But I can only watch this game from a bird's eye view for so long before I just kind of have to accept what the actual problem with this game is. Whether it's the official Discord, Reddit, YouTube comments, it would take you literally no time to see how volatile this game is. Hundreds, if not thousands, of posts per day of some individual trying to voice their concerns about how the game isn't balanced or fun from their point of view, to then have hundreds, if not thousands, of commenters, usually just shitting on the original poster for complaining about whatever their original post is about. And that in itself is obviously a problem and a indicator of a bigger issue, but we'll kind of touch back on that in a little bit. The clip in the background is also kind of an indicator or kind of the state of the game, at least PvP wise, for how PvP feels and kind of the mentality of most players when it comes to PvP in this game. The New World struggle, or the New World PvP dilemma, that I like to call it, kind of shifted from what it used to be back in the day. Aside from like the infinite amount of bugs, like the speed boost I have currently from Flail, the real PvP dilemma has changed from the struggle to just find straight up PvP to the struggle to find PvP that doesn't include either a healer or a tank, which creates even more animosity between tanks, healers versus DPS players in PvP. What is this big problem preventing the game from just being what it should be? It's simply the devs. Not the actual infinite amount of problems that people post about on the daily. It's simply the devs. And what I mean by that is the devs' lack of vision for what they want their game to be is what is preventing New World from moving forward. Yeah, most of us know the game was supposed to be a completely different game prior to launch, but that isn't even what I'm talking about. Currently, now, the devs' absence of how they want PvE to be, how they want PvP, open world, arenas, OPRs, wars to be. I mentioned player feedback earlier, and that's because the way the devs, seemingly from the outside, have been updating the game as we go on is purely from player feedback. Not a mixture of player feedback combined with their vision of the game, no, just whatever was the top 10 voted most complaints this patch. That is what gets either butchered or gets pack-a-punched the next patch, and it's really so much deeper than just listening to players too much. They've created a loop. Lack of vision, lack of expectations set for the players leads to the players all just wanting the game to be how they want it to be, which then leads to the majority of the player base not really being happy with some aspect or another of the game, thus voicing their concerns, to which AGS then takes in said concerns, and instead of getting closer to a more or less fun game for all the different types of players, each patch just ends up pissing off the whole section that got what they wanted the last time, and the cycle continues. I mean, we literally just saw Shirking Heels go from its entire existence in the game being useless to the best perk in the whole game to back to an afterthought not even 2 months later. We'd be here all day if I tried to list off what I think is wrong in the game currently, and frankly, none of those individual things matter. which is the point that I'm trying to make. It isn't tanks, healers, or DPS. They're balanced in each of the different game modes. It isn't the weapons or individual balance between them. Again, how they function in different game modes, scenarios, group compositions, etc. Not the giant empty circle, also known as outpost rush, ranged damage, none of that. It is the lack of a clear vision for all of those things from the start. The only reason why I'm making a video like this is because the Season 4 announcement absolutely terrified me, and I truly don't know how it didn't scare more people. 8 new artifacts? 8? We went from a nice cruising speed of like 30 to 40 miles per hour prior to Season 3 in terms of like pace of the game and content and how the power level was rising within the game, to literally going like in a fighter jet doing Mach 3. It's simply too much. There's too many variables that they continue to keep adding into the game each and every patch before getting the underlying problems with the balance in this game sorted. I truly believe that the only real way to get this game back on the rails at this point is for the devs to like actually grab myself, a couple of other content creators or players that truly want the game to like the whole game to be better, excuse me. Not just their game mode or their build, the entire game. Let us kind of brainstorm amongst ourselves and really and truly kind of just chill out with the content and try to implement our suggestions. Otherwise, at the pace that this game continues to go at, it's only a matter of time, some would argue it has already happened, before the very thing that drew each and every single person to this game, the very thing that made this MMO stand out from every single other MMO out there, that being the combat, it's only a matter of time before that core thing becomes meaningless in this game. And whether you're a PvP player or not, excuse me, there's no other reason that a PvE player from, let's say, World of Warcraft would come over to New World. Why would somebody leave a game that has much more complete and established systems to play a game that doesn't? One of those core systems in that game must be so much better than everything else. And yeah, I'm just kind of afraid that if nothing gets done or if nobody kind of speaks up about this, then the game that we all love is just going to kind of slowly turn into the clown show that it is slowly becoming. But yeah, I don't know. This is kind of like a plea for help to both AGS and my fellow content creators. Like, I truly believe that we can make this game something special if we just come together and actually try to, you know, unbiasedly, or I guess biasedly because we love the game, but I mean, not for any, you know, personal reasons of our own, just for the sake of making the game better. Whether that means, you know, certain nerfs have to come to like either rapier or like my playstyles, like I don't care. Like, the goal, I feel, for everybody involved, if this kind of thing ever happens, should just be to make the game better, regardless of, you know, what that costs. And yeah, I think that's really the only way that we can get this thing back on the road. But let me know what you think. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.